Earlier this week, I was watching the 1998 film Armageddon by Michael Bay. Typical Tuesday evening. It was fun. Watching astronauts get attacked by a meteor shower that rains down on Earth, specifically New York City, as NASA freaks the hell out and Billy Bob Thornton gives out some fantastic lines. But then, I noticed something. After the meteor shower, the shot of New York City post-destruction has a moment that is eerily similar to something that we would see in less than 3.5 years. Yes, an ominous shot of the World Trade Center on fire made me look at this film in a different light. But not just this film. No. I decided to delve deeply into the entire filmography of producer Jerry Bruckheimer, and what I found shocked me to my core. The producer of so many iconic films such as Top Gun, The Rock, and the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise needs to be held accountable for what he knew and when he knew it. Jerry Bruckheimer. You all know the name. But do you know the man? In this essay, I aim to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Detroit native and Hollywood creative Jerry Bruckheimer has some secret knowledge that he has yet to tell us about the September 11th terrorist attacks and the subsequent war on terror, and that this knowledge may be the secret to his success. So I have in my possession 8 films, all produced by Bruckheimer: National Treasure, Armageddon, Con Air, Bad Boys 2, King Arthur, Deja Vu, Pearl Harbor, and Black Hawk Down, that will be my primary sources that proves that he knows more than he's ever let on in public, despite trying to use these big budget movies as messages to the American people. So first we will start with National Treasure, as that is the key for us to understand that Jerry Bruckheimer is using his movies to send coded messages to the American people about the future of this country. Bruckheimer cares about America. And I'm not talking about his public support of the Republican Party, having donated to the Romney and McCain presidential campaigns. I am talking about how he is trying to tell the American people something, hiding clues in his art, to let those of us who can decipher his messages know what is to happen in the future. And tonight, I'm going to be the real-life Benjamin Gates, sifting through the clues, finding the meaning where most people would think I'm just being crazy, even though we know he was trying to tell the public something, anything, to try to avert disaster. But much like the Founding Fathers and the Freemasons of his film, he wasn't going to just outright tell us. We needed to figure it out for ourselves. Piece the puzzle together. This is because there would be no character growth if we were just given the answers off the bat. And a Hollywood producer like him knows that character growth is the only way we can truly earn knowledge. So back to Armageddon. I did some digging, and do you know what the time code is in the shot when the World Trade Center appears on fire? 9 minutes and 43 seconds. But if you subtract the 32 seconds it takes to show all of the production company logos from the opening to the film to this shot is 9 minutes 11 seconds. 9 minutes 11 seconds, did you say? Or 9/11? Was Jerry trying to warn us? He could have chosen any New York landmark, but he chose to put the World Trade Center in a prominent frame of his movie while they are on fire. And even in the scene leading up to this reveal, terrorism is mentioned as a possible reason for the explosions happening. This is the most solid evidence that Bruckheimer was trying to warn the American public of the dangers of that day. And it was something that anybody could have figured out. Had they simply gotten their VHS or DVD copy of Armageddon, counted the minutes as months and seconds as days for the timestamp of this shot, and subtracted the amount of time to show the production company logos, then they would know that September 11th would be a dangerous time to be in the World Trade Center, and that maybe we should beef up security. But Ned, you're saying, it just says September 11th. How would we know the year? It's kind of important to know the year. Or are we just supposed to avoid the place every September 11th? Well, here's the thing. NASA is prominently placed throughout this sequence. And ask yourself, what is the most popular thing NASA has been involved in? That's right, the Apollo 11 moon landing, which occurred in 1969. So you take those 32 seconds that we took off from the production logos, count them as years, and add it to 1969, you get 2001. 9/11/2001. Need I say more? It makes all the sense in the world. Now we look at a movie that was released a year earlier, 1997's Best Picture snub, Con Air. This is a film where a group of prisoners are being transported on a plane where they hijack it and take over. Having a hijacking be a key part of your summer blockbuster puts the idea of a plane being hijacked in the zeitgeist of the American population. And in the climax of the film, the plane crash lands on the Las Vegas Strip, which, while not the World Trade Center, is almost as iconic of a representation of American capitalism and opulence as the World Trade Center was. They are comparable. Bruckheimer was warning us. The truth is out there. He was feeding us the breadcrumbs and we refused to eat. And the film starts out with footage of desert warfare, and yes, you can say that this is the Gulf War and that's what the character was in. No, I refuse to believe that, because that's what they want you to think. It is a clear warning of the American interventionism that is to come. And in the first scene, a character mentions the Vietnam War.
Because of pussies like you, we lost Vietnam.
He's clearly talking about Iraq, isn't he? Bad Boys 2, Michael Bay's 2003 film produced by Bruckheimer, has the main characters do just so much destruction in the city of Miami as they follow a drug kingpin. But the key part that connects us to Bruckheimer's knowledge of the War on Terror appears in the climax of the film. The heroes have followed this kingpin to Cuba, where they find themselves on a minefield. But where is that minefield located? That's right, Guantanamo Bay. The heroes are saved by the Marines stationed on Guantanamo Bay. This is before we even knew about the enhanced interrogation techniques being used. So was he intentionally putting a location at a key moment of his $130 million action blockbuster so that the location could be prominent in the American psyche and that we would think to ask questions about it to make us look deeper as to what went down there? I'm just asking questions. And then there's the 2004 Antoine Fuqua film King Arthur, produced by Bruckheimer. That film's just rad. 2006's Tony Scott film Deja Vu gives the audience a story of an ATF agent trying to figure out what happened in a terrorist attack in New Orleans by watching a live feed of 3 days previously. The live feed allows him to try to figure out who the perpetrator was and how they can find him. And the third act twist in the film is Denzel Washington transporting himself to the past to stop the terrorist attack. Is this a secret message from Bruckheimer? Did we somehow have technology to send somebody into the past? Is Bruckheimer telling us there is a parallel universe where 9/11 was averted and George W. Bush isn't the second worst war criminal / painter? And now we get to that year, 2001. Bruckheimer had 2 films that he produced that were released that year. On May 25th, Bruckheimer released his Titanic ripoff Pearl Harbor, directed by Michael Bay. Other than starring Hollywood heartthrob Josh Hartnett, it is the story of a sneak attack on American soil, only 3.5 months prior to 9/11. The film taps into a clear rage that the American people felt from the attacks. A rage that gave FDR the superhuman ability to walk on his paralyzed legs. And it led America into World War II, where we were victorious against the evil empires of Japan and Nazi Germany. Much like 9/11 led us to a victory that gave us this glorious banner.
And there was much rejoicing.
But what was Bruckheimer's endgame? What was his goal in all this? Hiding the clues? Trying to warn us? There's no way he was involved in the attacks at all, but seeing as nobody listened to the clear warnings that were there, maybe he was trying to capitalize on it. But if he was, wouldn't he want to release his magnum opus after 9/11 and not before? But perhaps Pearl Harbor was just the aperitif to his real prize, the coup de grace, the endgame. Black Hawk Down, released in December of 2001. That was his endgame. All of his films leading up to this, Con Air, Armageddon, Pearl Harbor, All of these films tapping into his knowledge of 9/11 was made to prime the Academy of Motion Pictures to give the award for Best Director to Ridley Scott for Black Hawk Down in 2002. It just makes all of the sense in the world. Everything connects. A sneak attack by hijackers into the World Trade Center that set us into a war in a desert country that was overrun by Islamic extremists. But the only thing is, it didn't work. Ridley Scott lost that year to Ron Howard and A Beautiful Mind, so he had to manufacture a way to go back in time to give Ridley Scott his well-deserved Oscar. It's the only explanation. It's an explanation anyway. So this is something I entirely 100% believe in. Please do not look at the date that this is released and read into it any further. Thanks for watching this very silly video I made that's been in the works for quite a while now. I hope you enjoyed it. It was meant strictly for entertainment purposes, as yes, this is April Fools. April Fools. April Fools. Or was it? The coincidences sure seem strange. Maybe there is something there. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, maybe comment what other Jerry Bruckheimer vehicle has something to say about America's worst day, and check out another, more legitimate video on this channel. Until next time, open your eyes, sheeple.